Dear friends, we are really having a very good beginning to our new year. We will be listening to the wisdom of Sri Adi Shankaracharya, encapsulated in the 5 verses of Manisha Panchakam. G. N. Seshadri ji, who is the director of Chandala Institute of Nurturing Excellence, will be delivering his 3rd discourse in this series. In fact, he was just sharing with me that just yesterday he returned from Kanyakumari and tomorrow he is leaving for hospital. So with this very hectic schedule, going to different organizations to bring the light of spirituality through management to so many souls, Sri Seshadri ji has made time today to keep up his commitment with us, and we are extremely grateful to him for this. And he was also sharing with me how this Manisha Panchakam, even though it is by Sri Adi Shankaracharya ji, is very less known to the spiritual world and it is not often dealt with. But as he has been going through it, both to share it with us and with his own group, which meets in his house every week, he has felt that these 5 verses contains the essence of the entire Vedanta and the Upanishads. All the wisdom that has been given to us by the sages, the essence is contained in these 5 verses of the Manisha Panchakam. Seshadri ji has himself done a lot of research to bring in how every phrase will recall to the mind different parts of various Upanishads, Vedas and other scriptural works. So a lot of effort, a lot of manana, a lot of dhyana has gone into this on his behalf, and we are most grateful to him for giving us the essence of his insights combined with the insights of Sri Shankaracharya ji. Let us now call upon Sri Seshadri ji.
Even thank you for the introduction. We will chant Shanti Mantra. Sahana vavadu sahano bhunaktu sahaviryan karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Prostrate to the Guru Parampara, starting from Sadashiva. And we will together do this adventure in thinking. Maniji said that some sadhana is done and I am going to speak. If I say I am going to speak, nothing will come. Both in the Guru Padaka Stotram and in the Dhyana mantras of Bhagavad Gita, it says Mukam Karochi Vachalam Pangum Rangayate Girim. That force is capable of making even a dumb person to speak, or a person who has got limbs gone. He can make him climb the hill, let alone walk. Person who cannot walk, who has got such type of limbs, but if he wishes, he can make him climb. So I won't say that I will be talking. We will surrender to the Guru Parampara, and he will take us through for the next 1 hour or so today. We will just chant. All of you have this with you. We will just chant it together, and then we will take. We have finished the 2 talks. The first talk we had the introductory part and 1. Manisha Panchakam has got 5. Manisha is my faith, my firm commitment. This is given out by Shankaracharya in 5 verses. The first is an introduction. It includes the question by the Chandala. And then we have the 5. In the first talk we had the questions and the first verse. Next we had verse number 3, 2 and 3. So we will try to understand together verse numbers 4 and 5. We will just chant it together. Satyacharyasya gamane kadachin muktidhayakam Kashi kshetram prati saha gaurya margetu shankaram antyaveshadaram drushtva gachcha gachcheti abravit shankara sopi chandalastam punapraha shankaram अन्नमयात् अथवा चैतन्यमेव चैतन्यात् द्विजवरा दूरीकर्तुं वाञ्छसि किं ब्रूहि गच्छ गच्छेति किं गङ्गाम्बुनिबिम्बतेऽम्बरमणौ चाण्डालवाडीपयः पूरे चान्तरमस्ति काञ्चनघटी मृत्कुम्भयो माम्भरे प्रत्यग्वस्तुनि निस्तरङ्गसहजा नन्दावबोधाम्बुधौ विप्रोऽयं स्वपजयोम् इत्यदि महान् कोऽयं बिभेदभ्रमः जाग्रत्स्वप्नसुषुप्तिषु स्फुटतरा या संविद्विजृम्भते या ब्रह्मादिपिपीलकान्ततनुषु प्रोता जगत्साक्षिणी सैवाहं न सदृश्यवस्तुति दृढप्रज्ञापि यस्यास्ति चेत् चाण्डालोऽस्तु न तु द्विजोऽस्तु गुरुः इत्येषा मनीषा मम ब्रह्मैवाहमिदं जगच्च सकलम् चिन्मात्रविस्तारितं सर्वं चैतन्यविद्यया त्रिगुणया शेषं मया कल्पितम् इत्थं यस्य दृढामतिः सुखदरे नित्ये परे निर्मले चाण्डालोऽस्तु न तु द्विजोऽस्तु गुरुः इत्येषा मनीषा मम शश्वन्नश्वरमेव विश्वमखिलं निश्चित्य वाचा गुरोः नित्यं ब्रह्म निरन्तरं विमृशता निर्व्याजशान्तात्मना भूतं भावि च दुष्कृतां प्रदहतां संविन्मया पावके प्रारब्धाय समर्पितं स्ववपुः इत्येषा मनीषा मम यातिर्यङ्नरदेवताभिः अहमित्यन्तस्फुटा गृह्यते यद्भासा हृदयाक्षदेहविषया भान्ति स्वतो चेतनाः ताम्बास्मै पिहितार्कमण्डलनिभां स्फूर्तिं सदा भावयन् योगी निवृतमानसो हि गुरुः इत्येषा मनीषा मम यत्सौख्याम्बुदिलेशलेशत इमे शक्रादयो निवृताः यच्चित्ते नितरां प्रशान्तकलने लब्धा मुनिर्निवृतः यस्मिन्नित्यसुखाम्बुदौ गलितधीः ब्रह्मैव न ब्रह्मवित् यः कश्चित् स सुरेन्द्रवन्दितपरो नूनं मनीषा मम. Just a brief recollection of what happened. There was this, for this Manisha Panchakam to come, 5 highly pregnant verses. There is a situation was that Adi Shankaraji had taken bath in the Ganges, was going towards the temple, a symbol of consciousness. You must understand the behind that. When he was going, he had the disciples around him, and a Chandala, those days they were calling them untouchables, person of the lowest, born in the lowest caste. When he comes, his disciples, Adi Shankaracharya's disciples, he said, go away, move away. And maybe Shankaracharya, that realized soul, he says, temporarily he could have had the identification with the body. That can happen temporarily to a great realized soul. Temporarily he perhaps got identified, and then he also joined these Seshads and said, Gachcha, Gachcha. And it is at that time, this Chandala, he asked this question, Sir, you are asking me to go. Are you asking this Annamaya, this body, the matter should go away from the matter? Annamayat, Annamayat, Atava, Chaitanyameva, Chaitanyat. Or do you mean that the spirit, me, should go away from the spirit? Then why are you saying Kim Bruhi, Gachcha, Gachcha iti? He is asking this question because though he was in that Chandala, the ability to quote this question is cannot come easily. But what is the reaction of Shankaracharya ji is something great. Immediately he realizes that this is no small person. He may be a Chandala. But he asks one more question before Shankaracharya ji. He says, you have the sun, Ambara Mani, and the sun gets reflected in the Ganges, and the same sun gets reflected in the Chandala Vatipaya, in the gutter of the places where the Chandalas live. Filthy, dirty, sewerage water, like our Rishabhavati. And here we have the sacred Ganges. He says, Sir, is there any difference for the sun? The same sun reflects. Does it happen any difference to the sun who is getting reflected? And the second question he has is, there is this Kanchanagati and Nutkumbha, means the part made out of the gold and also the part made out of the mud. In both of them there is the space. He says, he asks this question, is there any difference between the space in the golden part or in the mud part? Means there is no difference. Though he has asked the question, he says there is no difference in space whether it is contained in a golden part or in a mud part. And he says, when this is a situation, Sir, where did you get this? What? Kaha ayam viveda brahmaha. Why did you get this delusion? What? I am Vipraha, I am Shopaja. Shopaja is one who cooks and eats dog. He is doing it. But where did you get the delusion that they are different? That means there is no There is a question. And then we saw, this was the question, the introductory verses, and then we had Manisha Panchakam. Now the Manisha Panchakam starts. And as you said, the entire Vedas, the essence is, in the philosophical portion, is in the Vedanta, the Upanishads. And the essence of all Upanishads are in the 4 Mahavakyas. And the 4 Mahavakyas, I think we went through that. Number 1, in the Rig Veda, in the Aitareya Upanishad, we have that Mahavakya called Prajnanam Brahma. The Yajurveda, in the Brihadaranyaka, we have that Mahavakya Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Brahman. First one is consciousness is Brahman. Second is Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Brahman. And in the Samveda, Chandogya Upanishad says, Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art. And Atharvana Veda, in the Mandukya, he says, I am Atma Brahman. That means the consciousness in me is Brahman. Actually, we have seen in the last 1, 2 and 3 how each one of them was, they were expounded. That means when we go through the Mandukya, this Manisha Panchakam, it is almost getting the input of all the Mahavakyas. In other words, we are getting the input of all the Upanishads or Vedas itself. That means if we read, understand, own it by realization, because reading, giving a commentary doesn't help. If we own it, then we have got the Vedas, the essence of Vedas in us.
Aham Brahmasmi.
Aham Brahmasmi, yes. So, but yesterday we were in a discourse, then somebody asked, how many Vedas or how many Upanishads should we study to attain self-realization? Then it was answered, how many mirrors do you need to know how is your face? We need one. So it is not that we need entire Vedas and all the Upanishads. Even one Upanishad is enough. It will indicate what it is. So the first one we saw, that was the Rig Veda. It is mentioning about the various Jagrat, Swapna, Sushiptisu. And that Brahma, Adi, Pipilakanta, all the bodies, there is that one. And that person realizes what? Aham Drushya Vastu Iti Na. I am not this world to be seen, I am in that. That is the whole consciousness here is Brahman. That is indicated in the verse that we saw first. In the second, as I said, the expansion was, in fact the mantra itself says, Brahma eva aham idam Jagachcha Sakalam Chinmatra Vistaratam. The whole world is nothing but the expansion of that one universe. In fact, what we see, the effect and cause relationship, every effect in this world has got a cause, number 1, and effect is nothing but cause in a different form. When we remove the cause from the effect, nothing remains. So, in the second, the expansion was that I am that, what? Which is the same consciousness everywhere, that was expounded there. And in the third mantra we saw, it was the Nischitya Vacha Guroho. The Guru says, Tat Tvam Asi, and having faith, he realizes that I am that. And in the process, it was also said in the conclusion of the last talk, we said, Bhutam Bhavicha Dushrutam Pradahada Samminmaya Bhavake. We have the sins. Sins also we saw in detail what a real sin is. Sin is nothing but it's called vasanas, the disturbance in the mind. That we have the sins, the past and the Sanchita and Dagami. These karmas vasanas will get burned in what? Samvinvaya with pradhata, it gets burnt up in what? Samminmaya pavake. And then that person, even after getting rid of or exhausting, burning away all the vasanas, still something is left over. That is called the prarabdha karma. Means my past actions which is now giving effect. So I can't do anything with that because it has already started giving it. What that person who having got initiated from his guru, that Tattvamasi, what he will do is prarabdaya samarpitam swapapuhu. Papuhu is his body. He will ask, okay, what has to happen to this body will happen as per my past actions which has now started giving result. Agami Sanchita is burnt away, but the prarabdha karmas, they will get exhausted, and he will allow the body to get whatever is the past karma you are allowed to happen. That is what was seen so far. Now we shall enter the verse number 4. Please let us do it, take it in chorus, one after the other. Yatiryang naradevatabihi. Please take it, repeat in chorus. Please take it in chorus, please. Yatiryang naradevatabihi. Ahamityantas spruta guhyate. Yadvasa hrudayaksha deha vishaya. Yadvasa hrudayaksha deha vishaya bhanti swato achetanaha. Bhanti swato achetanaha. Tambasyai pihitarka mandala nibham. Spurtim sada bhavayan. Yogi nivrata manaso hi guruho. Ityesha manisha mama. We'll read the entire verse together. Yatiryang naradevatabihi amityantas spruta guhyate. Yadvasa hrudayaksha deha vishaya bhanti swato chetanaha. Tambasmaihi pitarka mandala nibham spurtim sada bhavayan. Yogi nivrata manaso hi guruho. Ityesha manisha mama. We will see in all the verses we see that common word Guruhu Ityesha Manisha Mama. Whether he is a Chandala or Dvijaha, it does not matter. Adi Shankaraji prostrates to him and says, such a person is my Guru. Whether he is, actually, whether he is a Chandala or Guru, he is no difference. It all depends upon, not on the caste in which he is born or other external symbols. What is his belief, firm belief? And Adi Shankara says, this is my firm faith and conviction that such a person is my Guru, who, Tiryan, this, as I said, is an expansion of the concept I am Atma Brahma, which is in the Atharvana Veda of the Mandukya Upanishad, which says, this consciousness in me is the Brahman. That person who has that realization, he is my Guru, says Shankaracharya. Ya Tiryang Nara Devatabihi Aham Iti Antaha Sputa Gruhyate. That consciousness, we have to understand, it is that consciousness which, what? Tiryan means animals. Here we have to include other plants also. Tiryang, the animals, and then he uses the next Nara Devatabihi. Nara, man. Devata, the Devas. That which in animals, plants, human being and devatas, that essence, that consciousness who aham iti antah sputa gruhyate, which expresses as I in each one of them. From where? Inside. Sputa gruhyate means clearly expresses. So this is one indication of that Supreme. That Supreme Reality, that consciousness, which what? Clearly expresses inside. Inside what? Inside in the animals, plants, human beings and the devatas as I. That consciousness. That is what we have to see. In everything there is that I. Ramana Maharshi says, go to that root. What is it saying? I in each one of us is that only. And he says, and then yat basa hrudaya aksha deha vishaya bhanti swataha achetanaha. I think this is very easy for all of us to understand. Yet basa, in whose light, what? Hrudaya. Hrudaya, we have to take it as here, heart, and also the mind. In the mind. Aksha, the eyes. Deha, the other body. Which bhanti, which expresses or which enlivens all the activities in all of them. Swataha achetanaha. These are basically achetana, is a matter. What the list is given is a matter. It is achetana. It is inert. Even though all these, the list we will again see, Hrudaya, Aksha, Deha, Vishaya. Vishaya is outside. And these are basically inert, insentient matter. But this insentient matter, what? Bhanti, it is enlivened. All the insentient matter, inert matter that we see, it includes my body, gross body, sthula sharira, and the subtle sharira, the mind, intellect, the causal body, the sukshma sharira. That is all included there. And then not only the body, but also the vishayas, the outside world of the objects, the emotions and thoughts. Buddha Sinjimandi normally explains with reference to the what he calls as the BMI chart. Body, mind, intellect. I am the limited, when I identify myself with the body, I am the perceiver. Through my mind I am the feeler. When I identify myself with the intellect, I am the thinker. This ego, that I am the perceiver, feeler, thinker. My equipment, the body, the mind and the intellect, and through which I contact the world of objects, world of emotions and world of thoughts. All these are inert, insentient, they can't do anything. It is something like right now, fortunately all of us are alive. No, I think we are all alive, no? Some of you should say yes. We are alive. Okay. Suppose, let it not happen. One person here dies. Just because we say it won't happen, don't get scared. Suppose you die. And then you have the eyes, but that eyes cannot see. And the ears can no more hear. There is no input. And even if somebody puts the favorite, your gulab jamun or rasgulla into your and the tongue, or you have no sense of smell, or even if your favorite film hero or heroine embraces you, no feeling of touch. That means this is inert matter. But right now, I think all of us are able to see through the eyes, hear through the ear, smell through the nose, taste through the tongue, and touch through this equipment. And what is it that is making it this experience? That is that Chaitanya, that Supreme Consciousness. That is what we have to understand. So when we look here into this body, we should see, in fact, the more and more we look at it, the mechanism that is happening inside the body. That is why the greatest scientists, when they do research, they can't just avoid saying, oh, what a great creation, what a great wonder. Is something which a science cannot explain is this. There is some that Chaitanya, which is making this so-called inert sentient matter function this, and that is that. First thing was what he said, Tiryang naradevatabihi aham iti antaha sputa gruhyate. Number one, that consciousness which expresses as I, clearly expresses in all animals, plants, nara devatabihi, and then in whose light, in whose who is a witness to that, who is giving, empowering that supreme consciousness, that by whose light all this body and the world which are inert become active. We have to start realizing there is some power. There is that, call it as consciousness or Brahman, whatever it is. And then this is one thing. He has given a beautiful illustration in the third line of this verse. Tam basmaihi pihitarka mandala nivam. Very important. He has given an example. Tam basmahi, in that Chaitanya. Then he has given example. Basmaihi, here it means the cloud. You have to take it as a cloud. And that, we would have seen, when there is a cloud, then he will cover the sun. When there is a cloud, see, people want go to, I was there day before yesterday in Kanyakumari, I wanted to see the sunrise. Couldn't see. 4 days I was there, not even one day. Why it happened? The cloud had covered the sun. Now, the question comes, he explains Acharya. Normally a bigger one only can cover a smaller one. Suppose you have got a big, let us say, big vegetable, maybe one. And for me to cover, I require a bigger cloth if I want to cover. But the sun is huge. But how can this cloud cover the sun? But we must here understand, this cloud cannot cover, but it, let's take it very well, that clouds our vision. It is this, it can't cover the sun, but it will cover my vision and I am not able to see. Nivam in the same way. And one thing also is important. This cloud, you see the speciality of this. Cloud is, which is now covering the vision, our vision of the sun. I am now using the proper word. The cloud which is covering our vision of the sun, that cloud is illumined by the sun only. The sun is illumining the cloud. That illumined cloud, illumined by the sun, covers our vision to the sun only. In the the same way, our mind, which is illumined by that consciousness, it wields our vision of the Supreme Reality. He says, Tam Pasyaihi Pihidarka Mandala Nibam. That means, the thing number one, instead of the sun, let us put it as consciousness. Instead of the cloud, we will substitute it with the mind. Like the sun, which is, you have to understand, the sun which illumines the cloud, or the cloud which is illumined by the sun, covers our vision to the sun itself. Similarly, that consciousness which illumines our mind, my and your mind is illumined by the mind. But pity is, this mind which is illumined by that consciousness covers my vision of that reality. I hope it is clear. And now, that consciousness we must understand, he says. There are three indicators again, number one, number two, number three. And then, that person, he must see, Spurtim Sadha Bhavayan. He must see, our duty, our great responsibility is to realize that, and such a person, Yogi Nivruta Manasaha. Yogi is the person who is fit and contemplating. Contemplation, I think all of you are aware, is different from thinking. For thinking, we require the gross intellect that is required for the materialistic world, all the sciences and engineering. But little higher is the subtle intellect. Contemplation is something superior to thinking. And that yogi is one who contemplates on Spurtim Sada Bhavayan, one who starts contemplating on that and realizes that, and how? Nivruta Manasaha, whose mind is clear, calm, peaceful and serene. Now, thinking itself we require a common one. But for contemplation we need, all the other yogas are prescribed to make the mind become fit and calm, and it will become fit for contemplation. And such a mind alone can contemplate on the higher, and that person who does that, says Acharya Shankara, Guruhu Ityesha Manishama. So when we go through the whole thing, that one which is coming out as I and I and I in all the animals, man and devatas, which clearly expresses as I and I, and in whose light all our body, Hridaya, Aksha, Deha, Vishaya, they are all inert things are becoming in a sense working, and which a person who understands that which has illumined our mind and which is now covering. Right now we are not able to realize that because the obstacle has been our mind, the air that is clouded. Our mind has clouded and we are not able to. That person who sees that reality, and such a person is a guru. So it is a highly meditative verse, and when we go deeper, it requires at least 2-3 weeks of contemplation, slowly. So start going through it. Maybe let it become, anyway we are in the new year. In the new year, best way to celebrate the new year, I always tell my people is, on the last day of the year, sit down for at least 1 hour and start looking at the year that has gone by and how much of good and bad and other things, and how much of progress I have made in the spiritual line. And then it is the right time for us to plan for the year 2012. We plan for all the things, building house and this and that and that. Let us find out and have a clear plan of action for the year 2012. What shall I do so that I make this 2012 a more progressive spiritual year, so that I attain bliss. spirituality progress is measured by the amount of happiness. That is all. How to know whether we are progressing spiritually? Simple. Am I becoming happier? That is all. We will go to the last works. Please take it in chorus. Yat saukyam budilesha lesha daime Shakradayo nivrutaha Yat chitte nitaram prashanta kalane Labdha munir nivrutaha Yasmin nitya sukam budau galitadihi Brahmaivana brahmavide Yakaschit surendra vandita pado Nunam Manisha Mama. We'll take it in chorus, the entire verse, the conclusion verse of the Manisha Panchakam. Yat saukyam budilesha lesha daime Shakradayo nivrutaha Yat chitte nitaram prashanta kalane Labdha munir nivrutaha Yasmin nitya sukham budau garitadihi Brahmaivana brahmavide Yakaschit surendra vandita pado Nunam Manisha Mama. Why should we do all this spiritual progress and all that? Ultimately, why? See, everybody does. I was talking to a student. I asked the student, what are you doing? Where are you going? Student said, I am going to the college. I asked, there is a girl. I asked her, why are you going? I am going to the college to study. Why do you want to study? Why do you want to study? It's simple. I have to pass an exam. Unfortunately, there is exams. I have to pass an exam. I asked her, why do you want to pass an exam? Just get that certificate. I asked, why the certificate? I'm asking, why college? Why study? Why pass an exam? Why certificate? To get a job. I asked, why do you want a job? Why do you want a job? Simple, to buy things in house, vehicle and TV, fridge. I said, why do you want all this? And she started thinking, why do you want all this? She said, so that I can be happy. The ultimate purpose of all of us, whether you know or not, whether you express it or not, ultimate goal is that all of us want bliss. Bliss is something superior to the pleasure and the pain, happiness, and then ultimately we call it as bliss, ananda. Here he says, Yat Saukya Ambudi Lesha Leshita Ime Shakra Adayaha Nivrataha. This is the benefit that we are going to, after all we have to close. Why should we come to this class meditation? 1.5 hours here, and again we have to do sadhana outside also. Why all this? He says, Yate, that what? Saukya Ambudi. Ambudi is ocean. So, Saukya Ambudi is ocean of bliss. He says, what do we get by this Atma Sakshatkara is that we get ocean of bliss. I am guaranteeing you on behalf of the Supreme Lord, as told by Shankaracharya. Not by listening to this talk, not by speaking or hearing. When we realize ourselves, we are going to get that Saukya Ambudi, the ocean of bliss. What is important is, you see the comparison he has given. Lesha leshata ime shakradayo nivrutaha. A tiny spot, a tiny, when you go to a river, an ocean, the waves are coming. There when you go nearer, you will get, some few tiny droplets of water, no? Ocean is huge. you get tiny droplets of water. Those tiny droplets of water, lesha leshita, he says, Shakra Adayaha. Shakra here means Indra. Indra is Indra Padavi, very high. He is the Lord of all the Devatas. All the Devatas are there. The Lord of all Devatas is Indra. See the quantum, he is giving a simile. Small tiny droplets of water is sufficient to Shakra, that means it is capable, is sufficient to make Shakra Adaya. Indra and others, they will be happy, they will be contented and happy. But what about ocean? Are you getting the comparison? Let us go there to the ocean. Imagine we are at the seashore. Huge, particularly you go to this Kanyakumari, you will see three. The Indian Ocean, the Bay of Bengal, the Arabian Sea. Huge ocean is there. And one or two droplets of water. Are you getting the comparison? Few droplets of water and the huge ocean. These few droplets are sufficient to make Shukra Adayaha happy, but the Lord guarantees here for us, you are going to get the ocean of bliss when you realize. I think, is it not sufficient incentive for us? And Indra is the Devatas. We don't go and search Devatas here. Each one of our body is got, this eyes has got a Devata, ear. The presiding deity of all our senses, which governs the functioning of this, they are called we have the Devata for the eye, ear, nose, all of them. And let us see, to satisfy any one of them, how difficult it is. Different shape for the eye. To satisfy the eye is not easy. To satisfy the ear is not easy. The five senses, the Devatas, to satisfy is not easy. It will never get satisfied. But what about that Indra? Indra is nothing but the mind which governs all the Devatas. Let us not go anywhere to try to find out somewhere on helicopter or airplane or jet to find out where is Devendra, where are the Devatas? They are all here. Devatas are here, Indra is here. They require, small droplets are sufficient to satisfy them, but he is giving you, don't you think we should grab this opportunity? When you are getting an ocean of bliss, that which we are all working for, and then he says, and then yat chitte nitaram prashanta kalane labdva munir nivrataha, in whose, he is telling that person, realized person, who gets that experiences that ocean of bliss, the quantum is indicated, how it is all that. Because ultimately all of us want in this world, whether we get it or not is different, but we will get it here. All of us want sukha prapti, dukkha nivritti. And in fact Lord says, you have no right to be unhappy. Ashocha, the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita, Ashocanyanya, Shochastvam Prajnavadan Stapachase, Gatasun Agatasunsta Na Anushochanti Pandita. We are not supposed to weep at all. Says your business, you have got a birthright to be happy, but we have made efforts to become sorrow with our own efforts. He is not responsible for this. And that person who has this, and then yet chitte, in whose mind has got this quietude, and having attained that, labdva munir nivrataha, he becomes happy. Second qualification. And then yasmin nitya sukambodau garitadihi Galitadihi, we have the intellect. Who has merged this intellect into what? Sukha ambudhi. Dihi, Galita, Yasmin Nitya Sukham Ambudhi, the ocean of bliss. Galitadi, who has, let's say, who has merged this intellect, that means this is gone, that means he has outgrown this body, mind and intellect, and who has merged this individual intellect into that ocean of bliss. And such a person, he says, see, look at this beautiful one, Brahma eva na Brahmavid. Such a person is Brahma eva. He is Brahman na Brahmavid. Brahmavid is knower. That person who has this attitude, he is not the knower of the Brahman, he is Brahman himself. What else assurance you want? That means we are all Brahmans. We are all capable of, in fact, our nature is bliss. In fact, Ramana Maharshi used to say, this search, all of us are searching for happiness and bliss. This search for bliss is an unconscious search for our true self. When I find, I become blissful. Because this bliss cannot be got from anywhere outside, not available in either city market or Russell market or nowhere in any of the supermarkets also. Supermarkets can't give us, in fact, more and more you go, more and more you are troubled. No. But that man will be temporarily happy. Oh, that shop owner. We gain nothing, nothing can be got. But here he says, that person who finds this, he says, and look at that one more, he is verily the Brahman, not the mere knower of Brahman, Brahma eva na Brahmavid, yaha kaschit, so Surendra Vandita Pado. And what will be the status of that person, whoever it is, he will be, here twice this is mentioned in the, so Surendra Vandita Padau, that person who realizes that supreme consciousness, who enjoys this Ananda after realization, he says Surendra Vandita Padau. His feet will be worshipped by Surendra. So all of us have opportunity to get our feet worshipped by Surendra. People are wanting to go to heaven. This is guaranteeing. Why that? After all, when you go to heaven, for they say it is a lot of joy. There is Rambe, Urvashi, Menaka dancing, lot of things to eat. Oh, like the New Year party. Yesterday, before yesterday, they had temporarily they get pleasure. But he says that heaven, the Lord of that heaven, he will worship your feet. Who? That person who says that. And look at the last line. Nunam Manisha Mama. He says, I am telling it beyond all doubt. Definitely, without doubt, such a person is my Guru. Who is that person? Yat Saukyam Buddhilesha Reshitayame Shakradayo Nivrutaha Yat Chitte Nitaram Prashanta Kalabane Labda Munir Nivrutaha Yasmin Nitya Sukhambudau Galitadihi. He will be Brahma Eva na Brahmavit. And Yahakaschit, whoever it is, what? So Surendra Vandita Padau Nunam Manisha Mama. This bliss, happiness, there are from the material plans, I heard a revered person talking about the 4 types of Ananda. Ultimately, what we are is wanting Ananda. There are 4 types of Ananda. One is what is called as Vishaya Ananda, Vairagya Ananda, Jnanananda or Moksha Ananda, ultimately Swarupa Ananda. Let's see what we want. Vishayananda is, you go to this central mall or supermarket, there you see, we think that we get Ananda by the Vishayas, But all of us know, Ananda is not in the Vishayas, because what gives that Ananda to one may not give to others. And then unfortunately, those Vishayas, the objects which I think is going to give me, they will come and go, they are not permanent. And that Ananda which we get from Vishayas are temporary, there's temporarily we say, if I get so many saris, I will be happy. But temporary. Afterwards it will tear, you are unhappy. That, and there is what is called the law of diminishing returns. Like, suppose let us say that I get happiness, suppose I like, let us say gulab jamun. I take one. If the Ananda is in gulab jamun, one gulab jamun, so much. 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, what will happen? I will vomit, it becomes miserable. If that happiness is in gulab jamun, more and more gulab jamun should have made me happier. No, it does not. Number one, it is not permanent, it will come and go. Next, more and more of it will not give. So Vishayananda is the lowest of the Anandas, but most of us go for that one. It is eyes, all the senses we try to satisfy by the Vishayas in the world, and it gives me temporary Ananda. The next is called temporary Vairagya Ananda. Vairagya Ananda temporarily, anyway, it is not Abhav Vairagya or Smashan Vairagya. I will, that Vairagya which comes out of Viveka. Vairagya should not be a suppression of the desire. Out of understanding that the happiness does not come from the Vishayas, I will no more run after and develop Vairagya out of Viveka. That is very important. And that is one step ahead than Vishayananda. Vishayananda, Vairagya. And the next higher, better Ananda is Jnanananda and Mokshananda. We listen to goods and we get lot of good inputs, the Jnanas about Moksha and all that. That Ananda that all of us are now enjoying, that is superior than Vishayananda, Vairagyananda, and but the maximum, the highest bliss is what? Swarupa Ananda. When I realize what is my Swarupa, that I am not the limited equipment, the body, the mind and intellect. When not I intellectually, not that when I hear, jnana I may get. I may intellectually understand. But it is not enough. If I am able to experience that I am the Brahman, I am the Supreme, I am the consciousness, the Atma Sakshatkara or the Mukti, that gives me the highest bliss. That is, I start experiencing Swarupa of myself, as that Shankaracharya says, that person who has this experience is my Guru, whether he is a Chandala or a Dvyaha. What is the message that we get here? And this he says in the last, Nunam Manisha Mama. He says, definitely, beyond all doubts, it is my firm conviction and faith that that person who has this experience of Swaswarupa and who has experience of that reality, the consciousness, that which is the ultimate goal of life. It is very rare that people have that as the goal. Actually inside it I want, but we don't set the goals. And most of you have already, maybe some of you have already achieved that. Otherwise also, let us make 2012, at least by the end of the year, my goal is to make reasonable progress in 2012 for my self-realization. And that person who gets that, Shankaracharya says, is my Guru. So our effort should be to realize, when we see it again, Yat Saukya Ambudi. This experience gives us the ocean of bliss. I think that's sufficient incentive, and far superior than the bliss that the Indras, other devatas are getting. So we are capable of getting a higher return for the investment. Investment we have to do. Investment what? You don't need to put money. We have to make. But unfortunately, what we finally we want, what is most required, we give the last priority. When I have nothing else to do, I go to a class like this. Nothing should be there. All commitment, and I have nothing else to do, I'll come. But this is our get of people. Manisha Panchakam. There are very few people like you. Bangalore has got such a huge population of more than 1 crore. But out of that, very, very few people turn their attention into this direction. And then we are going to get the ocean of bliss, which is, I'll repeat again, Saukyambudi, compare it to, we are going to get the ocean of bliss, and all the Indras and Devatas, the bliss they get is like the tiny droplets of water. So, such a huge difference. So, we are going to get that, and but for that we have to move our Yachitte Prashant Kalane. We have got to make our mind calm, and then we have to make an effort. Yasmin Nitya Sukha Ambudau, what he must do? Garitadihi. Sukha Ambudau, we must merge our intellect in the ocean of bliss. And then we are going to be what? Brahma Eva. Actually, we are not going to be. Going to be something which we are not. Becoming something which I am not. But I will not become Brahman. I will realize that I am the Brahman, not only Brahmavid. And Shankaracharya says, please put it into practice. We have finished it, 7 minutes are there. I think we have been able to go through this in the 3 talks. My suggestion is very simple. Start 2012 till we realize, go on reading. Reading this, understanding this, implementing it is something like we are going to get all the Mahavakyas. It is almost like getting inside us all the major Upanishads. In other words, we are going to experience Vedas. There cannot be a faster method and simpler method. It doesn't cost any investment. Huge returns with no investment, but of course we have to put in our efforts sincerely, and this can be got. Let us purify the mind and then turn it towards the higher, and not think, contemplate and realize I am that. Thank you very much. Fantastic opportunity given to me. It was whether it has made some sense to others, but for me it has become a sadhana that made me go through it. As Vaniji said, this assignment given made me go deeper into this, because the detailed versions are not there. They even in Ramakrishna Ashram or the mission, the Kannada commentary is not there. Then there is a limited some work Chimnandi has written little, but fortunately I could go to various things in the internet, and I searched quite a lot, but finally I found 2-3 made a lot of meaning, and then I started maybe contemplating, because with human this is Prachar cannot be effective without Acharya, the preacher. Prachar cannot be effective. So I tried to own it, and whatever the Lord made me speak, it is He who has made. I surrender all the whatever has happened in the last 3 talks, I owe it to my spiritual masters, especially Swami Chinmayandi, without whom I wouldn't have gone in the direction of spirituality at all. It happened in 1979. So I thank you very much, all of you. Hari Om. Narayana.
ಇದು ಪ್ರತಿ ಪಂಚಕಕ್ಕೂ ಸಮಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಮಡಿ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಮ್ಮದೆಲ್ಲ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಸಮಯ ಆಗೋಗಿದೆ ಪಂಚಕಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಓದ ನಮಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ನು ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು